My mother was an avid health nut. When I was 28 was when my mother was diagnosed with colon cancer. It happened quick.
I ain't that chick.
It's about self-empowerment. It's about self-awareness. It's about self-respect.
So would she even have a leg? Would she have a thigh anymore?
Listen, so I'm like, so you would amputate it? And they're like, oh no, we would just keep it
Just a hollow
open
leg.
wound. I said, I wouldn't do that to a dog on the street.
Okay.
I'm not doing that to my mother. I said, and that means, so she has stage 4 colon cancer. She can't do chemotherapy with the open wound. She's going to die in this hospital. So she's not going to die in a hospital surrounded by nurses with a gaping open wound. That's not how she's going out. My mother does not.
Now that was your decision or your mom's decision?
That was my decision.
That was your.
That was what I already knew. At this point, she's herself, but she's still kind of loopy. But she's still herself, and she's like, "No, I told them that it's up to you guys to make the decision, about the surgery." Because she's not really clear what the surgery is.
But now your siblings, did they want her to have the surgery?
No. One thing about my mother, we were all tight with my mother. She said, I told them you can make the decision, so we come back and we tell them like we've decided not to do the surgery. And my mother looks at us and she's like, my babies know me. She's like, these are my perfect children. Like they know what I want.
So in other words, that would have been the very same decision your mom.
Oh, of course. My mother has stage 4 colon cancer. I was like, she cannot do chemotherapy. You want to basically leave her with a hollow leg. She would die here anyway. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
Like, could they have amputated her legs and maybe she had a prosthetic and continued on with her life? Or was that an option?
No, the cancer would have then gotten her.
Okay.
There's that one nurse trying to talk us out of it. And I'm like, listen, this is not about if she's going to die. This is how she's going to die. Okay. So I said, Mommy, Joseph has a few questions to ask you because we know email passwords, like anything. Right. So he goes she's like, yeah, Joseph, come on over, baby. And those were her last words. She took 3 deep breaths, like, and that was it. And I just held her and I stroked her head and I...
Wait.
And so they came in to like do the resuscitation. I was like, no. I said, this is it. And me, my brother, and my sister, we just sat there and we held her and we spoke to her. And I asked them how long would it take for her to really, be gone. And they said it can take a day. In 3 minutes, honey, beep, beep, beep. And that was it. And it was the most beautiful death. And it was one that was deserving of her. Even though my mother had this cancer, she didn't suffer long. I didn't become her nursemaid. I didn't wipe her butt. People said, well, maybe it was a staph infection. I gave it to her. I said, that staph infection was a blessing. I don't know what I would have done if I had to have months of my mother shrinking away and she's a shell of herself and I'm, wiping her butt and changing her diapers. I said,
which some people are doing with their parents.
I didn't come home and find her dead in the bed. She was surrounded by her 3 children.
Her kids.
And she looked so beautiful.
So this is the very same day that you were sitting
eating fried fish a few hours ago. This is the
same day you went to the fish store.
Yeah. Yep, a few hours later, that was it. And, and after that, the doctor comes. Oh, so this is important. So after that, one of the nurses comes in and she's like, honey, your mother would have never survived that surgery, right? The way they brought her in here. I was like, oh, I know. I said, if I would have lost my mother on an operating room table, the one thing that she didn't want in this world to have a surgery, I would have never been able to live with that. Because it's something that she would have wanted. Like, I could see her saying, like, I'm proud. A week later, the doctor who originally told me she had a staph infection, she sent me an email and she said, you inspired us all in that hospital. She's like, we see miracles every day. She said, but just you to be able to make that decision.
That's a lot. Now, I do have to play devil's advocate here because some people watching this will probably say, wow, she let her mom die or she didn't do every little thing she could to prolong her life. Some people would make the decision to say, you know what? Carve my mom's leg out, and for selfish reasons, I want my mom here. So how would you answer that?
She would not have been my mom.
I'm sitting here listening to your story, and of course what's going through my mind, I'm putting myself in your situation. And it has me emotional because I think one of the most unfair things is for a person to live without their mom.
It's hard. It's hard.
So how long has your mom been gone?
It's been 4 years, and initially, I was so busy with planning the funeral. I'm making sure I'm strong for my brother and sister. And so that kind of kept me busy. And then we're going down, I don't have a mother. Like, we had made plans, like when I had kids, she would retire and she would take care of them. And, you know, she won't take me walk down the aisle. She won't be there when I give birth. And, you know, of course it saddens me, but I had to make a choice. Like, my mother was a Buddhist, and so one of the symbols of Buddhism is the lotus flower. And if you know anything about the lotus flower, from its murkiest waters, it still blooms. And I had to take that into mind. Like, you know, even from my despair and my darkest place, I chose to bloom. And I chose to be the woman that she would have wanted me to be. My brother's cleaning out the closet. I'm in my apartment. He's like, come over here, honey, I found something. And I'm like, oh gosh, what is it? So he's like, that box, I think it's for you. And on the box, it says Yanni's wedding. And she had started purchasing stuff for my wedding. And it's like everything that I would have needed, she kind of left little things for me. You know, she touched people, and that's what I really want to make sure that people understand. It's like, I have no regrets. And because she lived a life of no regrets.
And that's what's most important, is that you don't have any regrets.
No regrets. No regrets. There's nothing I could have done to change it. This was what was supposed to be.
And you didn't sit down and die because, as I often say, you know, I ain't that chick. But you decided to live because
I ain't that chick.
All right.
At all.
Amen.
I love that woman, and because of her, I am. So
Because of her, you are.
thank you for allowing me to share my
thank
story.
you. Thank you for sharing with us. And again, thank you for tuning in. Let's say goodbye.
Bye.
This is my twin.